FM News Talk 97.1. On-demand audio.
You've heard me on this show many times discuss this administration's anti-energy policy because that's my approach to it. They have done more to destroy jobs in this country because of their ideology than any administration in history. There's a reason we've had repeated years of less than 3% growth in the economy because the economy has a stranglehold on it by the people in the Obama administration and the people they put in the EPA. We're joined right now by Luke Popovich. He's the Vice President of External Communications with the National Mining Association. Luke, how are you?
I'm alive. How about you guys?
Well, I'm doing well, thank you. I'm glad to have you on the air. We've talked about the war on coal. I did read a report the other day that the price of coal has bounced back a bit. What's behind that?
It has bounced back a bit. I think that's probably inevitable given the cutbacks in production and the gradual increase in demand, both domestically and very gradually from offshore. So we're finally seeing some relief on our met coal, that is the coal that's used, the very valuable coal that's used for steel making, as well as in what we call thermal or steam coal that generates the electricity. It goes into your office and in your home.
Yeah, it's impossible to convince the left that this country largely is still powered by coal.
Yeah, it's very sad because we have an administration, unfortunately, that has, as you started at the top of the show, or you stated at the top of the show, has gotten away from the policy that has assured Americans for generations that we have affordable electricity, and that is the policy of let's use all of the fuels that we have in this country to the best of our ability. And this is the first time we've had an administration, a government, that has departed from that very successful plan. They've essentially taken coal off the table, or that is their intention. So with fewer affordable fuels available, then it's only natural that you're eventually going to have increases in your electricity costs. And that, of course, feeds into not only your manufacturing sector, but when it raises the cost in the economy, it means it's harder for employers to hire more employees. Makes it harder for them to compete and therefore to keep the employees they have. It's a very, very sad that this is happening, and even sadder that it's happening not because of any mistakes that have been made in the marketplace. It's happened because we have an administration, unfortunately, that is bringing this about through regulation.
We're talking to Luke Popovich from the National Mining Association. Luke, maybe it's just my perception, but is there any country in the world that burns coal in a cleaner manner than the United States?
Well, if there is, we certainly don't know it. I mean, we've had clean coal, what we call clean coal technologies that are essentially advanced coal combustion technologies that keep coal cleaner. No one's pretending that there are no emissions from coal. There are no emissions from virtually any or any fossil energy source, and every energy source has environmental consequences. So the issue here is, can we continue to use one of the most affordable fuels we have in the country, where just in Missouri alone, about 37,000 people's jobs depend on coal in one way or the other throughout the supply chain? Can we keep that affordable energy here? Can we keep the jobs it supports and continue to reduce emissions? As we have in this country, we've got scrubbers on all our power plants now that reduce particulate matter and sulfur and nitrogen dioxide. These were big pollutants just 30, 40 years ago. We've reduced those to over 90%. We can do the same thing with carbon dioxide if simply we're given the chance to.
Well, I just hope that people keep this in mind. I mean, it's not always one of the issues that is at the forefront of people's thoughts in this election process, but here in St. Louis specifically, I know the numbers upwards of 70% of our energy comes from the two coal-burning power plants that Ameren operates here in St. Louis.
That's right. In fact, I think last year, 2015, your state depended on coal for 78%, so over three-quarters of all the electricity generated. And it stands to reason that if you take affordable energy like coal away from your mix, you're going to be left with more subsidized renewable fuels. And by the way, no one's talking down renewable fuels. We think the country can always use all the fuels that we have, whether it's wind, solar, geothermal, natural gas. But what's important is to keep in mind that we've got to have 24/7 electricity in this country, and we're not going to have it if we rely on wind and solar that are obviously intermittent sources of electricity.
Right.
You've got to have coal, you've got to have natural gas, you've got to have nuclear power. We need all those fuels.
It's a good point. Luke Popovich with the National Miners Association. I direct people to nma.org to find out more information. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.